How do you get more candidates to apply to your job posting? We're going to cover that and a ton more all on today's show. Check it out. Salon owners are some of the most amazing people on planet Earth. The only problem is sometimes their hearts are so big and they give so much of themselves to their staff and guests that it creates unintended consequences. Our goal is to change the industry by elevating the way the rest of the world sees salons, spas, and barbershops and give it the credibility that it truly deserves. This is the Salon Owner Revo Show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Jason Everett, and with me is Doug Campbell. What's going on, Doug? How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Dude, let's chat about this topic because I think so many salon owners are having this struggle right now, and they're really feeling the pinch of, I want to hire incredible talent to come work inside my salon, but I don't have a lot of people showing up for interviews. I don't have a lot of people applying to the job in the first place. And it feels like in my town, there's this giant dry spell of nobody wanting to apply for jobs. Have you been hearing that at all, Doug?
Yeah. I mean, that's the struggle all around, right? Is finding people to show up. I think part of the problem is finding the right people. I think the default is to fall into warm bodies.
Yeah.
I call it warm body syndrome.
Well, people get desperate, right? Like right now, people get desperate. And so they're like, I'll hire anybody who shows up. If you show up, you're hired. If you have some skill, great, right? Something like that. And I think what ends up happening is people get trapped in this mode when they don't see a lot of candidates, that they decide that they're going to just hire whoever. They're going to hire whoever shows up. They're going to hope for the best, hope that they can train them. And so they end up bringing the wrong people on their team. And like for us, we talk about how do you hire the right people on your team on a regular basis that will give you some level of like culture and community. But if you're just desperate to hire and you hire the wrong people, then you're going to get stuck in a position that you don't want to be in. And you're going to create a future walkout because you hired the wrong people in the first place. They're not going to want to stay. They're not long-term thinkers. And so it creates a ton of problems. By the way, if you're listening or watching the podcast right now and you can comment somewhere, maybe you're watching this on the video somewhere, do me a favor and comment issues. If you're having that hiring issue and you're trying to find more good quality candidates, do me a favor and type the word issue because I think this is a very prevalent problem that exists. And so what we want to do today is talk about, Doug, what are some of the things to make sure that quality candidates actually, number one, apply to your position. Number two, how do they actually show up to interview? And number three, how do you make sure that you hire them correctly so that they stay? Because I think one of the biggest dangers you could do is like lose people that are the right fit in the hiring process because you do something strange. But in addition to that, I think the other thing you do is not attract them right in the first place because you make a couple mistakes. So can we start with how do we get them to apply in the first place? And I'm going to give you guys some tips right away on what I think some of the most important elements are for getting people to apply for a job. So one of the things that I teach all the time inside the academy, and we actually have a whole training on this called the perfect job posting, is how do you actually think through who you really want to hire? Who is the person that you go, this is what I need to have on my team. Here's exactly who I want. And you kind of like make up who you want them to be in the first place. Then you write a job posting directly for that person, right? So you write a job posting directly for that person. And what you end up doing is you then attract that exact person to your salon because you wrote it out in advance, you decided who you want to have on your team, then you wrote a job posting specifically for that person. As opposed to, this is what most people do, and Doug, I think you've seen this over and over again, right? Is that what most people do is they write a job ad that says, now hiring, do you have the skills to pay the bills? And do you know how to cut hair? Did you go to cosmetology school? And have you ever seen hair before? And then they take that, right? They take that, and then that's all they end up doing. That's the only thing they end up having on their job posting. They basically write a job description. Can you cut hair? Can you show up this many days a week? Here's the things that you can expect. And then that's their job posting.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems that I see a lot, they don't know who they want to hire first. I think that's the very first step is you got to get clear about who am I actually wanting to hire so that I write the job posting appropriately. Because Yeah, the thing out there, if you're putting it out, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. I think there's a lot of good wisdom in that. It's like be specific of who you want to talk to. It's like, why are you wasting your time interviewing and setting up all these meetings and doing all this stuff with someone that you don't have any idea if they're even the right person?
Right.
It's like, so if you start talking to the right, if your job ad speaks directly to that right person, then that's probably who's going to show up, and it will eliminate the people that you don't want to show up.
That's right.
That's the trick.
Well,
understanding who you want to begin with.
I mean, you either screen in the interview process or you let your job ad screen for you. Right? And let's let the job ad screen for you. But I think what most people's problem is not that they're missing the screening process. It's that they're like, hey, maybe I'm screening too hard, so I don't want to screen too hard. Let's just put anybody through the door. But what I would actually say is you want to go the opposite. You want to be even more extreme about who you're looking for, but you need to write your job ad. And I always call it a job ad, not a job posting, right? Is that the idea is you want to write it like an advertisement so that the ideal person that you want to have on your team is magnetically attracted to you and your salon. You know, Doug, at our upcoming destination training in July, we're doing a whole training called Discovering You. And we're talking about discovering the power of you being a commissioned salon and creating a team environment and how people actually function, structure, and work in that. And that's a huge advantage. I think a lot of people are shying away from this idea that like, well, I'm just going to like see what happens. And well, maybe if I need to let somebody be a renter and maybe I'll be a hybrid salon, like whatever it takes to get the right people, as opposed to saying, hey, we are an amazing commission salon that will create a career path for you to get you where you want to go. So let me give you some tips on what to put in your actual job post. And Doug, maybe you can throw in a couple of ideas on this one too. I always like starting a job post with a attention-getting question. Like, are you the type of person who, right? Like, are you the type of person who loves a family-driven environment full of dedicated staff that are committed to the long term that want to be the most successful versions of themselves possible? Now, that might be a little wordy, but the idea is that you want to magnetically attract the right type of stylist to your salon. If you just say, do you need a job? Well, then you get anybody who needs a job. If you say, have you been looking for the perfect salon that will get you to a 6-figure year as a stylist? Right? Are you looking for a salon you can spend the next 5 to 10 years at? Right? What are some of the things that you want from somebody? Maybe it's the longevity. Maybe it's the dedication. Maybe it's some of their feedback and input of who they are. And I think if you start to even just starting with that question will drastically change the response of how people write. So here's how I do it. I write with an attention-getting upfront like question. You know, are you an incredible stylist looking for a great home to work in a family-driven environment that you can grow and succeed in? Then number 2, you want to ask, you want to actually state with the salon and say, hey, ours is XYZ Salon, where we focus on helping people become the best version of themselves by looking great on the outside and looking good on the inside, right? We have an incredible staff that for the last 15 years has allowed us to XYZ. You do like a little elevator pitch for your salon. And then you say, why are you looking to hire? We've rapidly had some growth inside of our salon, and we have more guests than we know what to do with, and we would love to have you join a part of our team and figure out if you have what it takes to be one of the XYZ salon stylists or massage therapists or whatever position that it is that you're hiring from. And then you would put in something that would be more traditional inside a job post that would say duties to include XYZ, opportunities for you to work on different times of the week for different rates of pay, whatever other customized things that you have. You know, we provide 401k, we provide continuing education, blah, blah, blah. Then at the very end of the job ad, what you would do is you would say something like, we would love to meet with you and see if you have what it takes to join our team. Please respond to this job posting by answering these 1, 2, or 3 questions. And you just ask a couple of questions. You know, what got you into the beauty industry, and what's your favorite place in town to go to dinner at? Whatever, something very basic that they can operate from. And all of a sudden, you have separated yourself from 95% of the job posts that are out there because it's actually written in a way to attract the right type of person, tell them what they want to find out, and then screen them just ever so slightly with that question at the very end. Anything you want to add to that, Doug?
Well, the other thing that I like to put on there is like once they get through that part, if you're going to click here, and that's where we put our sizzle reel.
That's
so
a
the
good
sizzle
one.
reel is
yeah. Well, describe a sizzle reel. People might not know what's a sizzle reel.
I said sizzle reel is a short video, maybe 2 minutes long, that really gives the flavor and the culture of what it's like to work for you. So people should look at it. So now if you've tracked the right person, now they look at the video and then are really excited. And then below the video, you have click to apply, and then they can go through right into the application process. I think that gets a lot of things automatically off your plate. You're attracting the right person. They're excited. Of course, and some people may watch the video and go, wow, I don't want to be a part of that, which is fine. Then we don't click to apply. Mm-hmm. But that getting people to understand the power of video, especially in today's culture, getting them to really understand who you are as a company. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a big, long thing. You basically want to give it, if somebody watches it, the music that you use, the tone that you have, the stuff that
what your guests look like, what the vibe is from your staff, like all those things should be in that sizzle reel for sure.
Because some people may say, "Wow, that one's way too tattooed up and cutting edge and crazy hair colors. That's really not my thing."
Yeah, or way too many blue hairs, like whatever it is, right? You might just say like, "What's the flavor of this salon?" And I think that's a great point. Is putting a little bit. Obviously, your writing should dictate what the flavor of your salon is. The sizzle reel is another really good one, Doug. Thanks for bringing that up. Is making sure there's a sizzle reel in there. And we've even had salons inside our academy who have an entire hiring Instagram page that just talks about behind the scenes with the staff, the outings that they do, the trainings that they provide. It's literally just a hiring page on Instagram that allows people to see who you are and snoop it before they actually come in and have an interview, right? So again, the right people become magnetically attracted to you. And I can't emphasize this enough. The quality of the very first question you put in your job post will dictate whose eyeballs get on your posting. If that just says, now hiring in Topeka, Kansas. No, nobody cares. Everybody's hiring in Topeka, Kansas. Like, what are you trying to do to get the attention of the right person? Where do you post?
I think there's.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So I think that gets back to, make sure you're talking. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to people that are about to graduate cosmetology school? Are you talking to people that have been in the industry and are maybe working for a chain store that are looking for something different? Are you talking to booth renters that may be fed up with having to do all the other stuff that goes along with that, and they'd like to just do hair, not worry about the rest of it? Who you're talking to, that's that first part that you're writing.
It matters. Yeah, and by the way, we got to take a quick.
Then we get to the reel. Like it's the same thing with the order of it. You can't just put out your sizzle reel and say, "Hey, watch this." You want to get the right people with the written part of the ad. Then you get them to the video. Then you get them to the application.
100%. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about the types of people, because I think that was really good, Doug. Let's elaborate on that and talk about how you would target them with a question. All when we come back after the short break. We'll be right back.
Hey, HPSA listeners. Let me ask you this. Are you tired of not knowing what your hair color is costing you on every appointment and watching it chew up your profit? Well, with Salon Scale, we take the guesswork out for you. Using a mobile app paired with a Bluetooth scale, Salon Scale will tell you exactly what your color is costing you on every bowl mix down to the gram. As you mix, Salon Scale will also digitally store your formulas and track how much product is being used in real time, so you can manage your inventory, cover your expenses, and generate more profit in your salon. Use promo code HPSA10 to get 10% off an annual subscription. Salon Scale, the new standard for mixing color.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for being around and for listening in today. If you're getting some value out of today's podcast, what I hope you are, stick around, because as we talk about this today, I think, like you said, Doug, this whole idea of who are you talking to? And I think when you ask that question, I think people are very quick to answer, well, I'm talking to stylists. Yeah, but what type of specific stylist? We're talking about the subset inside the subset inside the subset of who we're talking to. To exactly your point, do you have one job ad that's written to newly graduated beauty school students that have gone into a salon and they have not found the right home? Like, are you currently employed in a salon that you don't feel is the right fit? Like, I don't know if you'd be bold enough to post something like that, but if you said, are you looking for a better fit than the salon you're working at? That would be an option. I'm just saying, you can decide how bold you want to be on something like that. Or, have you recently graduated beauty school and you haven't found the right salon home yet. That'd be another good way to start that. Again, remember, the question is designed to address who we're talking to almost instantaneously. Did you leave a salon because you weren't involved with the right leadership team? You went off to rent and now you're looking for a new place to call home? That would be with a dedicated team of people, unlike where you used to work. Like, you would say something like that. Or even just saying, like, is booth rental not all you thought it was cracked up to be? I don't know how you say that, but anyway, you get the point, right? Is it not everything you'd hoped it would be? Because we are looking for new staff. We're overwhelmed with the amount of work that we have, and we'd love to talk with you about coming and becoming part of our team and helping you make more money than you could from booth renting. Like, those kind of questions will drastically change the context of who applies to your job ads. And I think, Doug, you mentioned it really well. It's like those are all those little subsets, but the question that you ask dictates whose eyeballs get on that post.
Right, so the way we all should look at it is, what is that person wanting to hear? What are they looking for? So that, I mean, that's the ingredients of your first question.
And,
so
and what is it that they secretly desire, right? It's like, what do they secretly desire?
So the booth renter is tired of doing all the other stuff, run the supply store, I'd love to just get back where I just did hair. Okay, then the thing would be, hey, do you want to come do what you love to do, that you're trained to do, and let us take care of all the headaches?
Right. Are you a stylist that is doing more than just hair and you want to get back to what you love to do? Right. And by the way, can I just say this, because we just did it now, but like, what you want to do is you want to write 15 or 20 headlines that you think you want to do. Like what Doug and I just did. We wrote a couple, and we kind of refined them. They get better and better. You want to write 15 or 20 of those headlines, and then you want to pick your favorite. Don't just like write one and go, okay, I hope that works. Like, you want to write 15 or 20 and go back and say, which one really gets me the exact person that I'm after?
Yeah, and I'd also say, if you love the top two, you're like, well, I really like both of these, run both of them.
Hell yeah.
And see which one performs better. Then you'll know, okay, the market likes this one better. Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing right on a light spend. You don't put all your budget in, but a light spend, you can experiment with ads and see which one actually gets some traction and gets the person that gets the people that you're looking for. Then you want to follow in that vein, because now you know what the market really wants. It's kind of like fishing. Right. You can have the best looking bait in the world, and you're like, man, if I was a fish, I'd be dead because I'd eat this thing. Throw it out there and nothing hits it. And you have to keep switching till you find the one that they want. So it's the same thing with advertising. You got to let the market figure out what it wants. You figure out what you're looking for, and then what's the best presentation that the market's going to react to. So it's not going to kill you. People are like, oh, experiment. Put a few out there at the same time and let them run and see which ones work the best. And then the market will tell you.
Well, and I would also say too, going to your fishing analogy, I'm not a giant fisherman. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, but the idea is that like I'm not a big fishing expert. But what I do know is if I put my fishing pole in my pool without any fish, I will also not get any bites. Right? Mm-hmm. So the idea here is you got to experiment where people are actually going right now. Is that on Indeed? Is it on a local recruiting website? Is it on Ladders? Is it on the local beauty schools listings? Is it like, where are people hiring? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Instagram? Are you finding people on LinkedIn? Like, I know some of you guys are like, I'd never find anybody on LinkedIn. I know that. That's okay. But I want you to try different places, because here's what I see most people do, Doug, is they'll put out a post on Facebook. They'll write terrible ad copy, and they'll go, hey, I put a job post out that had a picture of me in front of my salon team saying, now hiring at Jason Everett's incredible salon, spa, and barbershop, and nobody gave a crap, so Facebook doesn't work. Well, was it Facebook, or was it that your ad sucked? Because I will tell you, people are on Facebook, otherwise it wouldn't exist. People are on Instagram, otherwise it wouldn't exist. People are on Indeed, right? People are on all these different platforms that you're looking for, so you got to decide, yes, what's the right bait, but also where are you running ads? We have a lot of salons that use Indeed. We have a lot of salons that are just using Facebook and Instagram. But I love this idea. I mean, to your point, Doug, I'm kind of making this more of a like non-traditional post, like doing something like posting your video that has your salon Sizzle Reel, right? And then writing your job description in a post and then posting on your Facebook page. That's one, because it's on your page. But now if you actually run ads to it, you can actually target people and say, I want to find people who are looking for work, people who have a cosmetologist license, people who are friends of or who like the beauty industry, the salon and spa industry, specific brands. You can even say, I want to find people who are Paul Mitchell brands, Redken brands, Aveda brands, like whatever it is. You can actually run ads to those people that are within a 100-mile radius of your city. Like Facebook really does allow you to do that. Facebook and Instagram both allow you to do that. So experiment with how you're advertising, experiment with where you're advertising, and experiment with what your job posting is. And I would just say, if you haven't tried at least 3 different job ads, then you haven't given enough effort in to give up. I think so many people, Doug, put out one job ad and say, nobody applied, so that just must mean there's nobody out there. And I think that's BS.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things with social media, the thing that I think is good about that is that other people may see it that knows that, oh, wow, Susie's in cosmetology school. She really needs to see this, and they'll tag her in the post.
Right.
So that it's like, or share it with her. It's like, there's a lot of power to that. And so I just think, like, if you're looking for someone out of school, I think one of the better things to say is like, hey, would you like to be paid to get your master's in hair?
Nice.
Yeah, I'd like to get paid. I'd love to be and get paid for it. Sure. I'm going to have the conversation with the person. And then they'd see the Sizzle Reel, and then that would further filter them and come through. But I mean, that's the attention. It's like, if I'm coming out of cosmetology school, yeah, is there a more security? I need some security. This is kind of scary going out in my first thing. So paid to get my master's in hair. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that's, there you can think about, what are they wanting? What's at each one of those people, what are they wanting to hear? And that's going to be the thing. Like I said, again, even if it's not your exact audience that it ends up in front of, that's going to get shared and put in front of them by people that care and know them because they want to help them out.
So I want to leave with this thought at the end of the podcast, okay? When you have conversations with people face to face, you know who you're talking to, and so you talk really specifically to them. If you were at a beauty school and somebody was about to graduate, right, you would say, hey, after you graduate, we'd help you get your master's in hair. We'll help you earn a lot of income very quickly and help you get to your first 6 figures behind the chair. That's what you'd say to a newly graduated person. If you walked into a booth rental salon and you were looking around going like, hey, is booth rental not all you thought it was cracked up to be, then I'd love to speak with you about how you might be able to actually make more coming back in a commission salon and stop doing the things that you didn't want to do in the first place. I'd love to talk with you about that. Like, you would change the conversations in different settings. Think of your job posting the exact same way, is know who you want to talk to and make it feel like it's as much of an intimate, private, one-on-one conversation as possible. And then if you can, use targeting. So you might say in your job ad, are you about to graduate beauty school in the next 3 months and you're looking for a salon home to build your career in and work with an incredible group of people? If you use the ad to target, I want to target that person, then I want to target these booth renters, then I want to target somebody who's unhappy with their current salon, and kind of cherry pick 2 or 3 different types of people that you know would be looking for jobs. And I always just say this, what's the trigger, this is important, what's the trigger that has them looking for work? I'm unhappy at my current job. I'm about to graduate beauty school. Booth rent is not all I thought it was cracked up to be, right? Whatever it is for you, what's the trigger that makes them say, I'm ready to look for a job? And you know what? If you want to get a steady stream of candidates, what we talked about and promised at the beginning of this podcast, if you want a steady stream of candidates, it starts with understanding exactly who you're talking to. The thing that I get on most people about when they advertise anything is they're too generic. They want to talk to everybody with one specific ad and make sure they cast a wide enough net that they do it. The problem with the wide enough net is you're going to catch a whole bunch of, going back to our fishing analogy here, Doug, you're going to catch a whole bunch of junk fish. Right? That's not what we want to do. We don't want to go and catch everybody. We only want to catch the right people. And then it reduces your interview time. You can ask some great interview questions. We might be doing a whole podcast series on that, asking about what interview questions do you then ask when people actually apply, and how do you make sure you get the right person on your team. But hopefully it's been massive value today to help you figure out how do you get people to apply to your job post in the first place. And like, if I summarize it in one sentence, it's you're probably being too generic with who you're talking to. Make it specific, and it'll make all the difference. Thanks for sticking around on today's podcast. Doug, thanks for having a great show today.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right.
Great being here.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Revo podcast.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel.
Please subscribe, leave us a review, and you can always get more information, including show notes and the video episodes at evorevopodcast.com.